My name is Eric Connolly, and I'm the kind of guy who still pays for HBO Max even though my wife streams Netflix with her ex-boyfriend. Well, I didn't know about the ex-boyfriend part until last Tuesday, but the HBO Max thing, that's been going on for 3 years. I'm 37, work as an IT project manager for a mid-sized tech company in Cambridge, and until recently, I thought I had a pretty good life. My wife Emily and I lived in a decent two-bedroom apartment near Davis Square, split the bills mostly fairly, and maintained what I generously called a functional marriage. You know the type. We'd sit on opposite ends of the couch, her scrolling Instagram while I debugged code, occasionally grunting acknowledgement when one of us mentioned dinner plans. Emily Foster. She kept her maiden name for professional reasons, works in PR for a trendy startup that sells overpriced wellness supplements to millennials who think kale smoothies cure depression. At 34, she's got that polished, social media ready look that takes an hour to achieve but appears effortless. Blonde highlights, perfect teeth, and a wardrobe that costs more than my car payments. Eric, did you see my post about the new juice cleanse? She'd ask, not looking up from her phone. The one where you called vegetables nature's medicine cabinet. Yeah, I saw it. You didn't like it. I don't like vegetables pretending to be medicine, Em. They're vegetables. She'd give me that look, the one that said I was hopelessly uncultured, and return to her screen. These conversations happen daily. I should have seen the warning signs, but hindsight is 20/20, and I was apparently legally blind. The first real red flag came 3 weeks ago, during one of Emily's girls' nights. I was in the kitchen making a sandwich when I heard her on the phone with her friend Claire, both of them clearly several drinks in. I'm just saying, Emily giggled. If I were single, this would be the best summer ever. Like single girl summer vibes, you know? Girl, you could totally pull it off. Claire's voice carried through the speaker. Remember college? You had guys lined up. Stop it. Emily laughed, but I could hear the pleased tone. I'm married, Claire. I'm just saying, if you weren't, I stood there holding my turkey sandwich, wondering why my wife was fantasizing about being single with such obvious enthusiasm. When she came into the kitchen 20 minutes later, I asked about it. Oh, that? We were just being silly. You know how Claire gets when she drinks? But Emily's eyes didn't meet mine, and she busied herself, wiping down counters that were already clean. My best friend Nate owns a bar called The Rusty Anchor in Somerville. It's the kind of place where the beer is cold, the music isn't too loud, and the bartender remembers your name. Nate and I have been friends since college, and he's got that rare quality of being able to tell you the truth without making you want to punch him. Your wife's acting weird lately, he said last Thursday, sliding me my usual beer. Weird how? She came in Tuesday with those PR friends of hers, kept talking about living authentically and embracing change. Also, she ordered 3 Cosmos and tipped like she was spending someone else's money. She was probably just having fun. Nate gave me a look. Eric, I've been bartending for 12 years. I know the difference between having fun and planning an exit strategy. I should have listened to him. Instead, I went home and found Emily in our bedroom, trying on outfits and taking selfies. What's all this for? I asked. Just updating my social media presence. My boss says personal branding is crucial for career advancement. She was wearing a dress I'd never seen before, something short and expensive looking. The kind of outfit you wear when you want to be noticed. Since when do you care about personal branding? Since always, Eric. You just never pay attention. That stung because it was partially true. I'd been coasting in our marriage, assuming everything was fine because we weren't actively fighting. But Emily had been documenting her life in carefully curated Instagram posts, and I was notably absent from most of them. The breaking point came last Sunday. I was working on my laptop when Emily emerged from the bedroom in full makeup and another new outfit. Where are you going? I asked. Brunch with the girls. I told you yesterday. No, you didn't. I did. You just weren't listening. She was already heading for the door. Don't wait up. We might make a day of it. She was gone for 9 hours. 9 hours for brunch turned into shopping, then drinks, then dinner, then more drinks. I texted twice and got generic responses. Having fun and running late. When she finally came home at 11 p.m., she was drunk and giggly, immediately heading for the shower. Her phone, forgotten on the kitchen counter, buzzed with a text notification. I wasn't trying to snoop. The phone was face up, and the message preview was right there. Today was amazing. Can't wait to see you again, A. My stomach dropped. I stared at that message for a full minute, my brain trying to process what I was seeing. Emily had been gone all day, supposedly with the girls, but someone named A was texting her about seeing her again. I heard the shower running and made a decision that would change everything. I picked up her phone. Emily had never been good with passwords. She used the same one for everything. Foster 2020, her last name and the year we got married. The irony wasn't lost on me. Her text messages told a story I wasn't prepared for. Weeks of conversations with someone named Alan Weaver. Flirting that started innocent and escalated quickly. Plans to meet up. Photos I definitely wasn't supposed to see. But it was the group chat with her friends that really gutted me. Claire, Jess, and Emily discussing her situation like I was a problem to be solved. Claire, just be honest with him. Rip the Band-Aid off. Emily, it's complicated. We have the lease, joint accounts, all that stuff. Jess, girl, you can't stay married because of paperwork. Emily, I know. I just need to figure out the timing. Alan says he's patient, but Alan's hot. Don't let him get away because you're scared of confrontation. You're right. Single girl summer is calling my name. I set the phone down carefully, my hands shaking. 20 minutes later, Emily emerged from the bathroom in a towel, humming some pop song. Good shower? I asked, my voice surprisingly steady. The best. I feel like a new person. She had no idea I knew. No idea that her carefully constructed double life had just been exposed by her own carelessness. As she got ready for bed, chattering about her fun day with the girls, I made my own plans. If Emily wanted single girl summer, I was going to make sure she got it. The next morning, while Emily was at her yoga class, I did something I'd never done before. I went through all of her social media accounts. Her Instagram was a carefully curated collection of lifestyle shots, inspirational quotes, and photos that made our marriage look perfect. But if you looked closely, you could see the timeline of her emotional departure. The photos of us together stopped 3 months ago. Her captions became increasingly focused on self-discovery and new adventures. And then I found it. A draft post she hadn't published yet. A selfie from yesterday's brunch, captioned, Single Girl Summer Loading, #new chapter, #authentic life, #best life yet. She was planning to announce our breakup before actually breaking up with me. I screenshotted everything, backed up the evidence to my cloud storage, and then did something petty. I liked the draft post. When Emily came home from yoga, glowing and energetic, I was sitting at the kitchen table with my laptop and a cup of coffee. Morning, babe, she said, kissing the top of my head. I'm thinking we should do something fun today. Maybe go to that farmer's market in Harvard Square? Actually, Em, I think you should focus on your single girl summer instead. Gling, she froze, her water bottle halfway to her lips. What? Your Instagram draft. Single girl summer loading. I liked it, by the way. Thought you might want to know it has engagement. The color drained from her face. Eric, I can explain. Can you? Because I'm really curious how you explain 9 hours of brunch with the girls that was actually a date with Alan Weaver? Or the group chat where you and your friends discuss the best way to dump me? Or the fact that you've been planning our breakup on social media before actually breaking up with me? Emily sank into the chair across from me, her perfectly applied makeup suddenly looking like a mask. How long have you known? Since last night. Your phone was very informative. Eric, it's not what you think. It's exactly what I think, Em. You're cheating on me with your college boyfriend, planning to leave me, and your biggest concern is the timing and paperwork. Tears started forming in her eyes, but I wasn't feeling sympathetic. I was going to tell you, she said quietly. When? After you posted about single girl summer? After you moved in with Alan? Or were you just going to ghost me and let me figure it out when the lease renewal came up? She couldn't answer because we both knew the truth. Emily had been planning a clean exit strategy that left her looking like the victim and me looking like the clueless husband who never saw it coming. I think, I said, closing my laptop, that single girl summer should start immediately. What do you mean? I mean you should pack your things and go live your authentic life somewhere else. Today. Emily's tears turned into anger. You can't just kick me out. This is my apartment too. Actually, I can. The lease is in my name, remember? You insisted on that for tax reasons. I pulled out my phone and showed her a screenshot of our lease agreement. You have 30 days to find alternative housing, per Massachusetts tenant law. But honestly, Em, why would you want to stay? Alan's probably got a great place. She stared at me like she'd never seen me before. This isn't like you, Eric. Maybe you never really knew me. That afternoon, while Emily was presumably calling Alan and her friends to figure out her next move, I made some calls of my own. I contacted our utility companies, our streaming services, and our joint credit card company. Emily wanted independence. She was about to get more than she bargained for. Emily returned that evening with reinforcements. Claire and Jess, both armed with coffee cups and righteous indignation. Eric, we need to talk, Claire announced, barging into our apartment like she owned it. You're being completely unreasonable. I looked up from my laptop, where I'd been researching Massachusetts tenant law and apartment rental prices in Cambridge. Hi, Claire. Jess, can I get you anything? Water? The truth about your friend's affair? Jess had the decency to look uncomfortable, but Claire doubled down. Emily made a mistake, but that doesn't give you the right to throw her out on the street. I'm not throwing her out on the street. I'm giving her exactly what she wanted. Freedom to live authentically without the burden of a marriage she's been planning to escape for months. Emily emerged from our bedroom with a suitcase, her eyes red from crying. I'm staying at Claire's tonight. We'll figure out the rest tomorrow. Take your time, I said. You have 29 days. After they left, I sat in our suddenly quiet apartment and felt something I hadn't experienced in years. Peace. No tension. No walking on eggshells. No pretending everything was fine when it obviously wasn't. But peace wasn't going to be enough. Emily had humiliated me, lied to me, and planned to discard me like an outdated phone plan. If she wanted to play games, I was going to show her what a real strategist could do. I started with the utilities. Electric, gas, internet, cable, all switched to my name only, with Emily removed as an authorized user. Then I called our cell phone company and removed her from our family plan. Let Alan pay for her Instagram addiction. Next, I changed all the streaming passwords. Netflix, Hulu, Spotify, HBO Max. If Emily wanted entertainment, she could pay for it herself. I even canceled the meal kit delivery service she'd insisted we needed, despite the fact that she never cooked. But the real masterstroke was the social media strategy. See, Emily had made one crucial mistake. She'd forgotten that I work in IT, and I understand digital footprints better than most people. Over the years, I'd helped her set up accounts, recover passwords, and optimize her online presence. I knew her patterns, her backup emails, her security questions. I didn't hack anything. That would be illegal. Instead, I did something much more devastating. I created my own social media presence. For 3 years of marriage, I'd been a ghost online. No Instagram, barely used Facebook, LinkedIn profile that hadn't been updated since 2019. Emily's friends probably forgot I existed between visits, but that was about to change. I created an Instagram account, @EricConnollyBoston. My first post was a photo of our empty apartment with the caption, "When your wife announces single girl summer," before announcing she wants a divorce. New chapter indeed. #single guy autumn, #authentic life, #plot twist. Within an hour, it had 50 likes and 12 comments from people I hadn't talked to in years. Apparently, everyone loves a good divorce drama. My second post was a screenshot of Emily's draft announcement, with her face blurred out but the caption clearly visible. Found this draft on my wife's phone. Guess I'm the last to know about my own breakup. #modern marriage, #social media official, #blindsided. That one went viral in our social circle. By morning, it had been shared to Facebook, Twitter, and probably TikTok. Emily's phone must have been exploding with notifications. I was making coffee when she called. Eric, what the hell is wrong with you? Good morning, Em. How's Claire's couch? Take down those posts. Now. Why? I thought you wanted authenticity. I'm just living my truth. You're embarrassing me. I'm embarrassing you? That's rich, coming from someone who planned to announce our breakup on Instagram before actually breaking up with me. That's different. How? She couldn't answer, because there was no answer. Emily had been perfectly willing to humiliate me quietly, but she couldn't handle being exposed publicly. If you don't delete those posts, I'll sue you for harassment. Good luck with that. Everything I posted is true and documented. Also, I'm pretty sure adultery isn't protected speech, but public commentary about adultery definitely is. She hung up on me. An hour later, my phone rang again. This time it was a number I didn't recognize. Eric? This is Alan Weaver. I think we should talk. Alan's voice was exactly what I'd expected. Smooth, confident, with that slight condescension that comes from thinking you're smarter than everyone else. He probably practiced that tone in the mirror. Alan! The mysterious A from Emily's text messages. What can I do for you? Look, I know this situation is complicated, but there's no reason we can't handle this like adults. Adults? Is that what you call sleeping with someone else's wife? Emily and I have history. We dated in college, stayed friends. When she reached out to me about problems in your marriage, problems she never mentioned to me, her actual husband. Sometimes it's easier to talk to someone outside the situation. I had to admire his spin. He was making adultery sound like couples therapy. Here's the thing, Alan. I don't actually care about your history with my wife. What I care about is that you both decided to handle this situation by lying, cheating, and planning to humiliate me. So now I'm returning the favor. What do you want? I want you to experience the same level of public embarrassment that Emily planned for me. Fair's fair. That's not going to happen. We'll see. I hung up and immediately got to work on my next post. Alan Weaver, it turned out, was a public figure. He ran something called Mindful Wellness Solutions, which seemed to involve selling overpriced supplements and hosting Instagram live sessions about authentic living. His social media presence was even more curated than Emily's, full of shirtless yoga poses, motivational quotes, and testimonials from clients who'd transformed their lives with his guidance. He was also, based on his business registration, operating without several required licenses for health and wellness coaching in Massachusetts. Not illegal exactly, but definitely worth mentioning in a public forum. My third Instagram post featured a screenshot of Alan's website next to a screenshot of the Massachusetts licensing requirements for wellness coaches. Caption: When your wife's new boyfriend sells life transformation but can't transform his business into legal compliance. #wellness influencer, #authentic living, #check your licenses. That post got shared by 3 different consumer advocacy accounts and caught the attention of someone at the Better Business Bureau. Alan's phone probably started ringing immediately. But I was just getting started. Emily came by the apartment that evening with Alan in tow. I watched from the window as they approached the building, him in his Tesla, her in the passenger seat looking miserable. They made quite a pair, the wellness guru and the PR professional, both about to learn that image management is harder when someone else controls the narrative. I buzzed them up because I was curious to see Alan in person. He was exactly what I'd expected. Tall, artificially tan, with the kind of carefully maintained stubble that requires daily grooming. He wore expensive jeans and a linen shirt that probably cost more than my monthly car payment. "Eric," he said, extending his hand like we were meeting at a networking event. "I'm Alan." I shook his hand and smiled. "The unlicensed wellness coach. Nice to finally meet you." His smile faltered slightly. "About that post, which one? I've been pretty active on social media lately. It's amazing how therapeutic authenticity can be." Emily pushed past both of us into the apartment. "Eric, this has gone far enough. You've made your point." "Have I? Because my point was that actions have consequences, and I'm not sure you've learned that lesson yet." She gestured around the apartment, which I'd been systematically emptying of her belongings. "What happened to all my stuff?" "Storage unit. I figured you'd want your things safe while you figure out your living situation." "You put my stuff in storage?" "Emily, you've been planning to leave me for months. I just expedited the process. Think of it as efficient customer service." Alan stepped forward, trying to take control of the situation. "Look, we all want the same thing here, a clean, amicable separation. Emily's prepared to discuss terms." "Terms? What terms?" Emily pulled out a folder. "I had a lawyer draw up a separation agreement. It's very fair." I flipped through the pages, my eyebrows rising with each clause. Emily wanted half of everything: savings, investments, even my 401k, plus alimony for 2 years while she transitioned to single life. "This is interesting," I said. "You want me to pay you to leave me for another man?" "It's not about the money, Eric. It's about what's fair. What's fair is that you get exactly what you contributed to this marriage, minus the cost of storage for your belongings, minus the utility deposits you're no longer entitled to, and minus any shared debt you accumulated while planning to abandon our marriage." I pulled out my own folder, 3 days of research and documentation. "Here's my counteroffer. You take your personal belongings, your car, and your individual debt. I keep everything that's mine, including the apartment, the shared savings account that I funded, and my retirement account that you have no legal claim to since Massachusetts doesn't recognize adultery-based alimony claims." Alan looked at Emily. "You said this would be straightforward." "It would have been, if Eric wasn't being vindictive." "I'm not being vindictive, Em. I'm being thorough. There's a difference." They left 20 minutes later, Alan's Tesla squealing out of the parking lot like he was fleeing a crime scene. I watched from the window and then posted a photo of the separation agreement on Instagram with the caption, "When your cheating wife wants you to pay her alimony for leaving you, The audacity is truly impressive. #divorce strategy, #modern women, #pay to play. That post got screenshot and shared across Reddit, Facebook, and Twitter. By morning, it had been seen by thousands of people, including several of Emily's professional contacts and most of Alan's potential clients. My phone rang at 7 a.m. Emily was crying. "Eric, please, you're ruining my life." "No, Em. You ruined your life. I'm just documenting it." Oh, the beauty of social media is that once something goes viral, it takes on a life of its own. My posts about Emily and Alan had been shared, screenshotted, and discussed across multiple platforms. People love a good betrayal story, especially when the betrayer gets caught. But I wasn't content to let the internet do all the work. Emily and Alan had planned their affair with careful attention to detail, so I was going to dismantle their lives with the same level of precision. Alan's wellness business was built on his personal brand, which made it particularly vulnerable to reputation damage. His Instagram followers were already asking questions about the licensing issue, and several had canceled their coaching sessions. But I had bigger plans for Mr. Mindful Wellness. I spent the weekend researching Alan's business practices, and what I found was a goldmine of potential problems. His supplement line made health claims that weren't FDA approved. His coaching certifications came from online programs that weren't accredited. His testimonials included before and after photos that, when reverse searched, came from stock photo websites. Alan Weaver wasn't just an unlicensed wellness coach. He was a complete fraud. My next Instagram post was a detailed breakdown of Alan's fake credentials, complete with screenshots of his certifications next to the actual requirements for legitimate wellness coaching. The caption read, "When your wife's boyfriend sells transformation, but his own credentials are fiction. #wellness scam, #check the receipts, #transformation Tuesday." That post caught the attention of a local news blogger who specialized in exposing wellness industry scams. She reached out to me through direct message, asking if I'd be willing to provide more information for an investigative piece. I sent her everything I'd found, plus contact information for 3 of Alan's former clients who'd left negative reviews on various platforms. By Wednesday, the blog post was live. Local wellness gurus' credentials don't add up. Investigation reveals pattern of misleading claims. The article was shared by consumer advocacy groups, picked up by a larger news website, and eventually featured on a local morning show. Alan's business imploded in less than 48 hours, but Emily was proving more resilient than her boyfriend. Her PR background had taught her crisis management, and she was trying to control the narrative by playing the victim. She'd changed her Instagram bio to "navigating life's unexpected challenges with grace and authenticity," and was posting inspirational quotes about rising above negativity and not letting others define your worth. Her strategy might have worked if I hadn't been 3 steps ahead of her. See, Emily had forgotten that I had access to 3 years of her digital history. Every email, every text message backup, every social media draft. While she was trying to rebrand herself as a victim of my vindictive behavior, I was preparing to release the full timeline of her affair. I created a detailed blog post on Medium titled, "The Anatomy of a Modern Affair, a Case Study in Deception." It was a chronological breakdown of Emily's relationship with Alan, starting with their first contact 6 months ago and ending with her draft "Single Girl Summer" post. I included screenshots of their flirtation, her conversations with friends about leaving me, and her research into divorce lawyers, all of which predated any problems in our marriage that she was now claiming as justification. The post went viral immediately. It was shared on Reddit's relationship forums, discussed on Twitter, and even picked up by a few lifestyle websites as an example of digital age infidelity. Emily's carefully crafted victim narrative collapsed under the weight of documented evidence. Her friends started distancing themselves. Claire, who'd been Emily's biggest supporter, posted a vague Instagram story about the importance of honesty in friendships, and unfollowed Emily's account. Jess went further, commenting on one of my posts with, "I had no idea it went back that far." I'm sorry, Eric. Even Emily's family was turning on her. Her sister called me to apologize and ask if there was anything she could do to help with the divorce proceedings. Her mother, who'd never particularly liked me, sent a text saying, "Emily made her bed, now she has to lie in it." But the real coup de grace came when Emily's employer got involved. Her PR firm prided itself on crisis management and reputation protection. Having an employee whose personal life had become a viral cautionary tale about infidelity and poor decision-making was not good for business, especially when that employee's affair partner was being investigated for business fraud. Emily's boss, Miss Patel, called me directly. "Mr. Connolly, I hope you understand that we don't typically get involved in employees' personal lives. Of course not. However, when personal situations begin affecting our company's reputation and client relationships, we have to take action. I understand completely. Emily has been placed on administrative leave while we assess the situation. I wanted you to know in case there are any financial implications for your divorce proceedings. Emily was suspended without pay, pending a full review of her conduct and its impact on the company's reputation. Her career in PR was effectively over. No firm would hire someone whose personal brand had become synonymous with deception and poor judgment. When she called me that evening, she was hysterical. "Eric, they suspended me. I could lose my job." "That's unfortunate. You did this. You destroyed my career." "Actually, Em, you destroyed your career when you decided to have a public affair with a fraudulent wellness coach. I just documented it. I'll sue you for defamation." "With what money? You're unemployed, remember?" She hung up but called back 10 minutes later. "What do you want, Eric? What will it take for you to stop?" "I want you to experience the same level of humiliation and consequences that you planned for me." "We're not there yet." What do you mean?" "I mean, Alan's business is ruined, but he's not. Your job is gone, but your reputation can still recover. You both need to understand that actions have consequences, and those consequences should be proportional to the harm you intended to cause." "This is insane. You're destroying our lives over a relationship that didn't work out." "No, Em. I'm destroying your lives over a relationship that you destroyed through lying, cheating, and planning to humiliate me. There's a difference." The next morning, I woke up to find that Alan had posted a long Instagram story attempting to explain his side of the situation. It was a masterclass in deflection and victim blaming, claiming that he and Emily were two people who found love in an imperfect situation and that I was weaponizing social media to harm innocent people. He made two critical mistakes in that post. He admitted to the affair, and he called Emily's marriage to me loveless and dysfunctional. I screenshot the entire story and posted it with the caption, "When your wife's boyfriend publicly admits to adultery and then insults your marriage on social media, the lack of self-awareness is truly stunning. Own goal, wellness wisdom, self-awareness." But more importantly, Alan had just provided me with documented evidence of alienation of affection, a legal concept that still existed in Massachusetts case law. While it was rarely prosecuted, Alan had just publicly admitted to deliberately interfering with my marriage and disparaging it in a public forum. I forwarded the screenshots to my lawyer with a note, "Might be useful for the divorce proceedings." By Friday, Alan had deleted all his social media accounts, and Emily had changed her phone number. They were trying to go dark, hoping the story would die down if they stopped feeding it. They didn't understand that the internet never forgets, and I wasn't done with them yet. That weekend, I received a message from someone named Marcus, who claimed to be one of Alan's former business partners. "I saw your posts about Alan Weaver," he wrote. "If you're interested in more information about his business practices, I have documents that might interest you. He screwed me over in a deal 2 years ago, and I've been waiting for someone to expose him." Marcus had financial records showing that Alan had defrauded several business partners, stolen client lists from a previous employer, and was currently being investigated by the IRS for unreported income. The wellness business wasn't just unlicensed, it was a front for tax evasion and business fraud. I forwarded everything to the news blogger who'd written the first article about Alan. She was thrilled to have a follow-up story with even more damaging information. Local wellness guru under investigation for fraud, tax evasion, went live Monday morning. By noon, it had been picked up by 3 news stations and shared across social media. Alan's attempt to lay low had failed spectacularly, but Emily was still trying to salvage her situation. She'd hired a lawyer, probably with money borrowed from her parents, and was threatening to sue me for harassment, defamation, and intentional infliction of emotional distress. Her lawyer sent me a cease and desist letter demanding that I stop posting about Emily and Alan on social media and remove all existing posts. I forwarded the letter to my own lawyer, who called me an hour later, laughing. "Eric, this is the weakest cease and desist I've ever seen. Everything you've posted is documented fact, and most of it comes from Emily's own communications. She has no case. What should I do?" "Ignore it. But if you want to have some fun, you could post the cease and desist letter. Public legal threats are fair game for commentary." So I did exactly that. My next Instagram post was a photo of the cease and desist letter with the caption, "When your cheating ex-wife tries to sue you for posting the truth about her affair." Some people really don't understand how the First Amendment works. #legal threats, #truth hurts, #First Amendment. That post was shared by several legal professionals who found Emily's threats amusing. One lawyer even commented, "This is what happens when people think they can weaponize the legal system to cover up their own bad behavior." Emily's lawyer quietly withdrew the cease and desist after realizing it was only generating more negative publicity for his client. By